Well, this is session 2 of the learning project for me. It is learning how to play guitar, just to refresh those who may be watching this for the first time. This is a project that I'm doing with my pre-service teachers at the University of Regina, asking them to learn something new and to really be reflective on the learning process, thinking about what it takes to be a learner in the 21st century, and being metacognitive about the process, looking at resources, looking at how you learn, looking at success, looking at things that are failure. And so they're devoting up to 25, hopefully more hours than that, on anything. So far we've got a few entries, like someone's going to learn how to make sushi. We got someone learn how to speak Japanese. I have someone exploring becoming an expert or whatever on web quests, and a few others. They're just, the projects are starting to come in. So my goal was to learn how to play guitar, and so part of their process of my students is to document that learning and what it's like to learn, and really kind of, again, being metacognitive about it. So here I am, 1 week since I began learning to play this guitar, and I probably have I haven't logged it specifically, but I'm sure I've put in approximately, I would say 3 to 5 hours, probably around 3 hours, probably is fair to say. So I've picked it up pretty much every day for 20 minutes or half an hour. So 3 hours is probably a reasonable amount. What's interesting is I've kind of been practicing. I think I mentioned last time I learned 2 chords. I learned a G chord, which, as you can tell, it's still not perfect. And I also learned how to play a C chord. So this week, what I was working on, well, I kind of got playing with it, and I kind of fiddle with that. But you know, what's interesting is just playing chords, and these are, of course, my daughter's been teaching me how to do it, so that was what she sort of started me off on. And I, you know, after a couple of days, I said, okay, you know, I like to play a song, right? Which is, you want to be able to see this in action. So she said, okay, I'm going to teach you 2 more chords. I'm going to teach you, you can see if you can guess the song here. That chord, which is an E minor chord, and then the other one is a D, which, if I can play, I would kind of like that. So I've got E minor, I've got D, I've got the C, and I have the G, which are the 4 chords required to play Heart of Gold. So we went online, and we found, you know, as is the case with bad glare, there's you go, there's your Heart of Gold. So I've been working on trying to play Heart of Gold. Now, I won't bother going through the song because it's not sort of ready at all. I've just sort of played out the chords a little bit. But what's interesting is I'm learning the chords, and of course, I don't know if this is how you're supposed to learn how to play guitar or not. This is just sort of me customizing for me, wanting to learn how to do stuff. You know, we talked a little bit about, one thing I talked to, of course, if I'm struggling, right, is I have to look, you know, for me to play a G, I have to look really carefully at the chords. And of course, I'm watching other guitar players who never look at the chords at all, right? So, you know, she was talking to me a little bit about muscle memory. The other thing is the preciseness of playing each chord. I noticed that sometimes I can get away with playing a G and missing, you know, not having my fingers exactly in the right spot. And we talked about, obviously, the fact that, yeah, you can get away with it because you're playing, you know, 5 out of the 6 right or whatever. And so even though it's not a perfect G chord, sometimes early on you can get away with it. Not that that's the goal, but just an interesting observation for me to think about the fact that I can produce what's almost the sounds that I want, even though I know that my fingers are not in the precise spot all the time. And of course, transitioning from chord to chord is the challenge. So for example, with Heart of Gold, looking at the chorus part, and I'm getting old, so you go from the C to the G, right? Which again seems like a pretty not a very good transition, but that's the kind of thing I'm working on. So anyways, that's kind of an update from where I am this week. I looked online for some resources. I didn't find too many great iPad apps. I did find a guitar tuner app, which I needed to keep the guitar tuned, which worked really well for a free little app. So this week I'm going to keep working on that. I want to be able to, my goal would be to, my first goal here would be able to actually sort of play the song almost properly. So that's definitely going to be what I'm going to be working on this week. As well, maybe finding a few more resources that would be helpful for me. So if you're watching this, if you have some great online resources that you're willing to share, I'll be searching the YouTubes out. But if you have a great resource for beginner guitarists like myself, fire my way. I'd be happy to take a look at that and help me in my learning journey. So lesson number 2, guitar from the Learning Project. We'll see you next week.